during this class, we are going to first learn how to do a skin system, okay? So remember, in the previous classes, we see that I have like different models and you can choose a model by paying some coins. With that, your players will be able to just choose the best style for them during the actual racing, okay? Another important thing is that we are going to create a skin system, a normal item system. I'm going to show you the different techniques and the most effective to get some money from your maps. Also, I'm going to show you how to do the script system for the random items. In the Discord group, some of you were asking about this because previously we only create just like the basics. So I'm going to ask you guys to pay very or a lot of attention to that last part because I'm going to provide you another script as always, and I'm going to teach you a new kind of variable, okay? And what we are going to do, we are going to learn some advanced techniques to create a skin. Start with the first point, and my first advice to you guys is if you are going to construct any kind of model, if it's a card, if it's a person, if it's a character, if it's a weapon, don't build everything with just one miniature, do it by parts. Why? Because it's going to be much easier to manage. You can change the size, you can change some specific things for it, and also, very important, if you are creating skins, you will be able to remove some parts or change some parts of the model without having to redesign everything from scratch. As an example, if you are created a character, you can design one arm, one leg, one chest, one head, and you just can mix it and you can have a lot of models. Also, you can change as an example, just design different kind of hairs and then join it in one model, and with that you will be able to change the hair very quickly. So it's going to be very important for creating this kind of games, okay? You can see all the models that I designed for the card game, okay? If you notice, all the different models are going to use the same parts. As you see, they're going to have like these specific wings at the side. They're going to have a center, some impulsors in the back, and some leads. But as you see, all the models are going to have different colors and different like patterns for the model. If I were using a normal system, I will have to design model by model, and probably that will take me a lot of time. It doesn't mean like half of a day like I did for those. Probably it will be able to take actually more than 1 or 2 days. Also check this example below, okay? So I don't know if you already played, guys, but I create a map with robots that is called Metal Warriors, okay? On this one, you can get some basic robots, and you can actually play with the robots, and you can switch any robot anytime. You can just take a robot that is empty and start pilot. But I also create a skin system. So as you see here, guys, this robot is the same. The only difference are going to be the patterns, the colors, but it's going to be the exact same model, okay? Also check this one. Yeah, it's like having a different skin, but it's respecting or is having just the same fonts and the same animations and the same everything, okay? Check this. Also notice this. This specific one is the original one. This is the alternate version that you can get for buying some money. As you see, guys, I'm using the same models or the same blocks for creating those 3 robots. Let me show you the process that I did. At the beginning, what I did was just to create this first skin. That was this one, okay? As you see, the model has a lot of parts on it, okay? So it's not composed just for by one miniature, it got different parts. And I'm going to show you by creating a new skin and take that one part per part, so we will be able to just remove some parts of the system, so move some parts of the models without affecting the main model, okay? So let me show you how it's going to look part by part. I compose first a center, so with this center we can control all the model. If I change the size of this center, that is going to be the root, all the model is going to change. Why I did this? Because if, as an example, I want to do some animations, I can just take the roots and all the model depends on it, so it's going to change. With that, you can take quick decisions. Apart from the roof, you start composing. As you see here, I compose first the body, which actually all the other parts are attached to the body. I divide the creation into different wings, the center and the front wings, okay? So let me just disable or start just moving some parts so you will be able to see actually how it looks, okay? As you see, if I move the body, all the skin is going to be moved, all the model. If I just move the wind, as you see, the wind have some models depending of it, so it's going to move all the parts that are attached to that one, okay? If I move the center, also you are going to see that it's going to move apart. And if you see, actually all the models are going to be simple models. They are not like that much complicated models. They are just simple forms, but as we were able to compose by parts as a modular system, you're going to see that it looks much great once it's composed. But if I show you just the models, let me show you one of the simple models that compose this skin, you will be able that is not that much interested. Okay, so let me choose one of the parts. As you see here, check my miniatures, you see that I have a lot of parts, because by composing with small parts, I will be able to create those specific models. So as an example, check the wings here. If you see, it's just it's a simple part. It's a square with some specific patterns on it, but it's not that much too much complicated to make. And we can change the skin very quickly. As you see, it's a simple model and it's one of the parts that's come here. All right, once you just duplicate that specific one, you will be able to work as free with this one, and you can have like I show you here, some different models, and you can visualize what you're doing and what are going to be all the skins, okay? Let me show you how easily we can change a new or create a new model, okay? Check this. As you see, I select a different part. We are going to use this one as an example. And as you see, we are just changing the skin completely. It's going to look different. Of course, I'm going to use the same color because it's just a demonstration. It's not that much advanced, but I can actually do with the two colors. So guys, check now, we have a completely new skin made in less than 5 minutes. So first lesson, guys, remember to divide the work when you are working with the skins by parts. So for creating the skin system, we are going to actually use some triggers, okay? So let me show you in my map how it works, how we can create that store. We are going to use this skin, so we are going to just create. Let's give a name to it. What about if we give it English car, just for English class, okay? Remember to set up as a creature, because if you set it up as a block, as a prop, it's not going to be able to be used. First, we are going to create the buff, okay? So once we have the model, what we need to do is that you need to open the plugin editor here. In the plugin editor, you are going to have a specific section that is going to be called creatures. Once you hit on creature, you will have to add a new one. The trick for this is that we cannot create a completely new one. We need to modify an existing creature to be able to see it in the system. So what we have to do, we have to hit on here, we have to hit on edit, and just take any animal. You can pick any of them, and we are going to modify that animal, okay? So as an example here, let's use I already used raptor, I already used the the dog. I think I already used this one. So we are going to use this roster, okay? As an example, you can choose whatever creature you want. You are going to change the name. Let's say English card, okay? All right, guys, on this, it doesn't matter if you put it, if you want to see it or not. You don't need a subscription for this one. And in the model, you are going to choose the miniature that you already create. So remember that I create this one. Actually, it doesn't matter all this stuff because we are just going to use this to give the player the right model. So once you have the model here, you need to add it to your game and do a double check that is appearing right here, okay? Now, we already have the model. Now we need to create the buff for that model, okay? For this, just go to the normal status section right here in the end. And under you are going to have different options. So hit on add a new one. We are going to create one from scratch. We are going to select new. You're going to select create. Remember, not edit, just create. On here, you can just hit on the last plus symbol. With that, we are going to create a completely new one. Remember to choose the model. I use this personally, but you can choose any model that you want, any actually not model by the icon. Don't select like any special effect or sound effect. Be sure to add a description. Important things, check the effect, okay? So we are going to add a new effect, so select this plus symbol. Under we have like different options, but we are going to select special effect. And the first one, or sorry, the second one is going to be change the mode. Change the mode means that we are going to change the model. So in here, check this. We have already selected a model. Remember that we modify this one. You need to select that one. So you are not going to see the model modify. You're going to see just the icon for it. So you need to remember which model or which animal you modify. In my case, it's going to be this one. And let's see. Right now, you're not going to see anything. It's going to look like the same. Important things, in edit, you are going to select this one, back view when it's converting. And important things, this one needs to be off, because if you hit this one on, your card is not going to be able to use items or use skins. So be sure that that one is going to be completely disabled. Now you are going to move to attributes. Be sure that is in positive. This part doesn't matter, but this one actually does. So select positive, select cover, and all the other three switchers. For the first one, don't remove after that, needs to be on. And the other one needs to be completely off. You're going to save it. You're going to look again for your buff, and you're going to add it to the game. Also, don't forget to add the card. That's very important. Now, if you open again the skin from the game, directly from this one, we are going to be able to select the exact model. Okay. So be sure, because probably right now it's not detecting that I create the right model. Now saved. Now we are going to enter to the game just to refresh the system. So once again, be sure that this is saved and this is 2. And what we are going to do now, we are going to check how it looks, okay? Lock the camera, it's going not to go backwards, so we need to have the player know that it's actually changing the skin, okay? So be sure that this one is in default camera and this part is not locking. Okay, now we are going to actually create the trigger. Okay, so important things, create a new trigger set for the store. Okay, all right, so what you need to do is the next thing. You are going to use as an event if any player obtains an item. All right, so the condition, we need to choose which item. Okay, so for determine which item, we need to add the condition here. And in the condition, we are going to have to scroll down to item, okay? So once you are in item, you are going to select determine item type. What we are going to do is that we are going to change the skin. How you can do it? Simple, go to the player section in actions, and we are going to add an actual buff, okay? So for this, we need to check here when it says activating or obtain an effect. Remember, the red means that we need to set up this specific part. We are going to, as always, choose template library. You are going to see your specific buff right here on custom. Add it. On remind, you are going to choose true. For this, just hit on options and you are going to have true. True means that is real, so that means if the player obtained the effect, we are going to keep this effect, and on here you are going to just choose 0 seconds. Remember, 0 means that it's going to be forever, and check. Okay, now as you see, I have the skin that I do to actually make the game have a little bit of more deeper things is to create 2 different collections, okay? And what's the main objective of to create 2 different collections? First, that you will be able to, as an example, implementing more skins, just having an excuse to implement more. As an example, if you want to maintain your game and you actually want to just keep giving some maintain for that game and you want the players to keep playing, you can release a specific collection each month or each 2 months, and in the collection, as an example, you have an inspiration like anime. So you can create an anime collection or a collection that is going to be, I don't know, like medieval collection. So you will have like different skins for your games, and they are going, the player will be able to actually choose a collection from it. So in my case, I divide the skins into different collections. The first one is going to be the Founders, that if you see, all the Founders pack looks very similar. And also I create the Xfinity collection. What will be the main difference? In real life, there's nothing. They take just the same time or amount of work. But in game, as those are going to have a higher price and they have like patterns, players are going to spend more money to get this. So it's going to give the players kind of look of premium. And another important thing is that as I create also random loots, so this one is going to only provide you random loot from the basic collection, and this one is going to provide you a random loot, but for the advanced collection, okay? So with that, you can have another factor that is going to be the look in the store. That means that the players can get for a cheaper item, like any of the items inside, okay? If you see my mouse, if you see in the top, there is like this small icon that looks like a shopping cart with a star over it, okay? If you hit on that one, you will be able to store. If you see right here, I already set up a store. I have 2 different sections, the general and the weapon one, okay? So to be able to have a skin and to be able to get the skin directly from the store, first we need to have this specific item, the one that we just create. It needs to be right here on the store. Okay, so how we can create that? Okay, so probably when you access to the store, it's going to look like this, but in general, option, no hero foot. But we are going to use the equipment better, just to show you the example, okay? So you hitting the plus symbol, right here you're going to have this screen, okay? Right here, if you hit on the plus symbol, you will be able to choose an item, okay? In my case, as I already have this item created, we are going to choose custom, and I'm going to select my personal item. As you see, it's going to have like this specific interface. So the first one is going to be by get it by mini coins, the second one by mini pins, the third one by mini points, and finally you can get an extra one by just checking some mini coins are not going to be like very used by the players, so players doesn't spend that much coins on these kind of games. Of course, there are some players that are going to do it. My personal recommendation is to go with a mix, okay? Mini beans are going to be actually very useful to unlock the game, but probably in some point you are going to have that much mini coins or mini beans. In my case, as an example, guys, and mini points is one of the most used one, also the ads. Okay, mini points, for those that didn't know how it works, are those extra points that you can get by watching ads and are going to be safe to get some skins in game. So as you need to first choose the currency that you're going to use. In this case, you have an option that is very cool, that is going to be mini points and mini coins, okay? With that, you can choose 2 different values as an example. You can choose a tag. A tag is going to be a small reminder here that you can use to just make this item looks cooler or get more attractive for the players to purchase. For the item category, you can choose whatever you want from here. As we are working with equipment, I'm going to let this in the right amount, okay? So you can choose now the price for mini coins and for mini points. And as you see here, I already have the item added to the store. It's not added right now, it's just pre-add. To add it, we need to save. And check this. We have the item name, we have the description, and we also have the price, okay? So to save this new item that we add, it's going to be also in the general options right here. As you see, it has a feature level on it, and you only need to hit on save. And as you see, I get a message in the center that says that the shop has been completely and successfully set up, okay? Okay, guys, we already have at the time, so we are going to come back to the class, okay? So, all right. So I guess, guys, that you get a good and a cool ideas for it. We are going to see or cover the different parts that we need to be able to create the store system as itself, okay? So remember, right now we have the items added to the store, the normal gaming store, but now we are going to activate those store systems. So let me show you some cool examples that we can do. Right now you're seeing my screen, and the first one is going to be an area, okay? How it works, it's pretty simple. When you access an area, we are going to show the player dialog that allows the player to get an item. And if the player accepts, it's going to get the skin, okay? So for this, let me switch again to mini words. To create an area, when the player access to that area, it's going to have the option to get the item, okay? First, we need to create something that shows to the player that there is an item on there, okay? So as you see before, we already create the base, or yeah, the base for this model, for this skin. Now we are going to create a second skin based on that one. And what it's going to do? The skin is only going to show to the player that you can get the information there. We are going to choose to open a model, and we are going to save it as an actual block. Then I'm going to save this as a block. Just give a custom name so you are not going to confuse the creature model with the block model. Now we have this, we are going to delete it, and I think it's going to be this one. Yes, as you see here, we create the base, so the player will know that if he accesses to the area, he's going to get this skin, okay? Create a different block just for let the player know that he needs to access on that area to be able to activate the function. In this specific one, I create this one, okay? So just not create, actually I select this one. So if I place this in the floor and there's no similar blocks around, it's going to let the player know that he needs to just be on over it to be able to activate this, okay? Now the most important thing, we are going to switch to the tool mode. We are going to select the area. Remember, the area is going to be this one. And we are going to create an area. It's very important, create the area by having some health because players can't pass over it. Okay, we're going to create a new trigger. Remember, in my case, just for example, I just created a normal trigger set. Remember to choose yours in the store system. And what we are going to do is an event when a player enters to the location. So remember, in that menu, select enters location, give me a second, consume, enters area, sorry. Select the area, that is the one that we just created. Card English. When the player accesses card English, we are going to show them the actual interaction. So for this, you need to scroll down on this bar at the left side, scroll down all the way to the bottom, and there's one that says developer. So you have under different options, there's one that says open developer store, the other one says purchase item in window, and the other one says apply advertisement. We are going to choose, in my case, this one. And when we choose show or display a purchase window, The first one is going to be the product. Remember that the product needs to be already in the store. So we are going to select the item that we created before. Now we are going to select to which player we are going to give that item. That is going to be the player actually to enters in the area, so we are going to keep it by default. And the recommendation is going to be the text that the player is going to see. So as an example, I'm going to type, you are awesome and get your new skin. Okay, but you can get any of or anything. Okay, so as an example, you can do also a description card, or let's choose a special skin created for mini camp. Okay, we are going to save it. Remember that you can use colors again on here. So as an example, you can use, let's use a yellow color here. Okay, and as you see it change the color. Okay, and yeah, now we have the basic skin. So if I move on here, as you see, as soon as I just step onto the block, it's going to show me this menu to get the item. Okay, so with normal keys, you can choose to cancel off C, and if you see, if I enter 3 times to here, I will get this one. Okay, so this is one of the simple models. Right now, as you see, there's not that much interested because we need to add some effects and enhance it. So as an example, if you take a look right here, I place just over this specific block a cool effect that if you place a cool effect on there, the player is going to see that there's something happening on there and that the player can interact with it. Okay, so it's very important to give like a player a notion about something that is happening in the area, and for that you can choose this specific kind of effects. Of course, you can choose more. I see some players that actually place a finger on it, and the finger is going to be just showing the player that you can select the block. Okay, so that's the first system that we can use to set up our store. All right, so let me see now. We are going to actually add some effects, guys, just for you, for the ones that didn't know how to do it. I'm going to show you some cool effects, okay? So as an example, we are going to create an effect in the position. So when the player access, we are going to do a specific zone. You can choose any zone from the library. On mark are going to be the specific ones that are going to be for player notifications, like letting the player know that he gets an item or something similar. It's very important to use a sound because the player is going to feel like something is happening there. Remember, it again, once to place the volume to 100, the key needs to be in 1 and the playback is going to be off. You are not going to listen the effect that I'm placing because right now I'm recording just in real time, so you are not going to listen the screen. But with this button, you can play what you did. And finally, as we already give players some actual sound feedback, we are going to give the player also a visual feedback. Okay, so for this, just in the options that you have at the left side, you are going to choose a special effect. We are going to place a special effect on the position. And type of effect, again, red means that you need to set up that parameter. As you see right here, the red parameter is missing. We are going to choose template library, and we are going to choose any effect that you want, actually. Remember, for my case, I prefer not to use like very genitive or like overwhelming effects. I prefer to use simple effects. But it's up to you guys. You can choose whatever effect you want. As soon as it looks great for you, it's going to work, okay? Also, don't forget to ask for your friends or for some feedback. So they always are going to provide you the best the best effect that may work. They are going to probably tell you, no, I didn't see that, or I should use this, and remember to listen to the people feedback because they are going to be able to provide you good advice about your game, okay? So I'm going to use this one. It's a simple one. The effect size, you can choose whatever you want. I recommend that you do it with the normal one. And let me show you how it's going to look now. Okay, so settings, we are going to switch to third person. You will be able to see effect. As you see here, when I pass, it's doing the effect and it's making the sound. So the player is going to be notified. Okay. Another important thing, you can add some actual effect to that area. So the player will know that in that area is going to happen something. For this, you need to create an extra trigger. Okay. My personal recommendation is create just one trigger that is going to create all the effects at the beginning of the map. So you don't have to have a lot of triggers. Just with that one, you are going to have all the effects. So what you have to do, word game, in-game time, you can choose in word, no, actually this is not going to work because this is just like the hour. Let's select game logic. When the game is created, we are going to add an action. Once again, select special effect. We are going to create a special effect on position. The type of effect, we are going to choose from template library. Again, mark are going to be the ideal one. As you see, guys, most of the players use this one to let the player know that they can hit the block if it's a block. For thus, this is a location, you can choose whatever you want. I prefer to use something that is not too imaginative, like this one. You can choose event position, and as an example, you can select, I don't know, 0.5. So with that, it's not going to be that much bigger. That means 0.5 means the half of one. In event position, choose the location. Sorry, we are going to choose the position that we can create for that one. As we didn't add the position yet, we are going to add a position right over there. We are going to select that one. Remember to change the name of that position. Just with that, you are going to have a better control of the positions, guys. So select the location, that is going to be the same as position, and just choose card English. Okay, remember that we already have like a region for it, but now we are going to choose a location. And now, if I play it, you're going to see that there is the effect. Of course, we need to fix the effect, and I'm going to teach you very quickly how to do that. But as you see, now it seems that, or is clear for the player that if the player accesses there, something is going to happen. And like you see, we are doing the effect right now, okay? So let me show you how you can move the actual location for some effects. And this is very important, guys. MiniWord is going to work with coordinates. So how a coordinate works? A coordinate is going to have different axes, okay? So the right size, as an example, is going to be X. If you look at the front, it's going to be the axis C. And actually, if you just try to jump, you are going to move in the axis Y, okay? If you don't know what is an axis, try to look Cartesian coordinates, or try to check how the different dimensions work for mathematics. And yeah, we are going to use that, okay? So as an example, with the function library, we are going to move this effect a little bit down, okay? So how you can do that? You are going to choose a specific coordinate location, okay? And under, you need to know in which exactly location you can create effect. How you can get that coordinates, okay? It's simple. The only thing that you need to do is to move to the area. And once you are in the area, you are going to use the map. In the map, you are going to see this that says coordinates, okay? So coordinates, the first number is going to be the y-axis. The second number is going to be the z-axis. And the third one that is completely apart, that says altitude, is going to be the y-axis, okay? So take note of the number. In my case, just give me a second. In my case, it's going to be 22 on the x, minus 13 on the z, and 50 on the y-axis, okay? So what we have to do here is just specify that. So remember the x1 is going to be 22. The C1, that is going to be the last one in here, but the second on the map. It's going to be, if I don't remember wrong, minus 13. And finally, the height or the y-axis is going to be 50, if I remember right. Okay, so right now it's going to do just the same. When I play the game, it's going to create in the same position, because actually we keep just to the system telling like the same one to create in that location. But check this, guys. If I change the location here, and in the y-axis, that is going to be the height, I reduce the specific height a little bit. So as an example, I'm going to choose 49 instead of 50. That means one less. This is going to happen. As you see, the effect now is on the floor because it's one block below. So with that, we can choose, we're not having to create a location for each specific one, the effects, okay? So we can combine like the size and the different things, and it's going to look much, much cooler. So as an example, if I choose here, right now it's going to do the same, okay? Now, that is the first system. The second system, it's going to be, and the most common one also, it's going to be this one, okay? That when you hit this specific block or any block, you are going to get the item that is over it. So it's going to be just the same. The only difference is that we are going to use an item to run that, okay? And how we are going to create the item, it's pretty simple. Let me start again. So before coming and doing this process, we are going to create a specific block. In my case, I already created. Let me show you the model. And you don't actually need to have any specific model. You can use the normal button, but it's going to look much, much cooler to have your own model for it, okay? So if I'm not wrong, it's right over here. Yeah, here it is. So I have this specific model. I create this specific block button and I animate it to let the player know when actually the player can unlock some things. Remember that it doesn't need to be like this specifically. You can choose just a normal button and place a normal button. In my case, I create a specific one. But once you have your model, you need to create a block. And that block needs to have the model just like this one. As you see, in the plugin editor, I already added. Once again, and as I always teach you, this specific block needs to be unbreakable by choosing the blast resistance to -1 and the hardness to -1. With that, no one will be able to destroy it. And yeah, it doesn't need to have anything else. With that, you will be able to create the block. And what you are going to do, it's like this simple, okay? Check it out. Okay, so we are going to use some of the items that I created before. For this, we are going to use the block that I just mentioned before. Okay, and we are going to choose also the block that it's going to make the player notice that there is something in that area. And we are going to use the model that we create for the English card. So remember that we create this new model. It's going to be around the last one. Actually, I have to take it manually, so just give me a second. All right, so it's going to be in the miniatures, and it's going to be the last one, okay. So we are going to use those three things, okay? First, we are going to create a model. As this game is like a card game, that a flying card game, I'm going to create it over the floor. Now we are going to create the block that lets the player know that something is happening on their area. Then you're going to create the activator mode block, okay? And as you see here, we have the base for the system. And how it's going to work, when the players push that button, it's going to show the player the menu. So it's the same on here, it's going to do just the same, but instead of just accessing to a location, we need to just hit under. Important things, guys, in some previous player maps, student maps, they show me that they create a store, and the store was having some problems. And is that they were placing items around the map, but they weren't be clear, like there is going to be a location there that activates the store. So they got a lot of items spawning while you were playing, and that's a little bit upset because it's going to just confuse you. It's not going to be that much. So important things, guys, if you use the system, this specific one, be sure that it's going to be very clear where the system is going to show you the store, okay? Because players can be really upset after some point. It's going to ruin your gameplay. All right, so let me show you how it works, okay? So we are going to create a new item, a new trigger set. We are going to choose the event. The event is going to be, or is going to have more than one event, because this is important. In some specific devices, when I mean devices, I mean phones or tablets or computers, one of the events is going to fail. So the first one is going to be player uses any block or hits any block. The second one is going to be click on a block. Okay, sorry, this one is already placed on there. It's just give me a second. Let's delete this one. And that again with player, we are going to choose the second one that this player is starting to break a block. Okay, so just a second. You need to search for this one, or I'm not sure actually that exists on triggers or only in scripts. I think that only exists on scripts. Okay, yeah, it's this one. When begin destroy it, or when the player is trying to block it, the condition is going to be, and very important, that the block is going to be the block that we just create, because if we don't choose the right block, probably the player is going to get that when he hits any block, okay? So just give me a second here. We are going to choose the block that is going to be this one, the one that you create for activate this one. And now, remember, type of blocking event equal at the block that you equals to the block that you choose, and the event is going to be just the same. You scroll down, you select developer, display a purchase window. You're going to select the product. In my case, it's going to be this skin. The second one is going to be the character skin. So remember, you can choose whatever you want. In my case, as we already created previously one, we are going to select this one. Okay, so check this. Correct? As you see right now, it's showing you the screen for purchase the model, okay? So guys, probably you're guessing right now in that you have to create each block for each one of the models. I mean each trigger block, but you don't have to do it, okay? So as I mentioned before, the coordinates, the easiest way to do it, that is going to save you a lot of effort because you are not going to have that much blocks, is to just change that by the coordinates. What does it mean? That by coordinates, we can know that this specific block is the one that is going to activate this, okay? We're going to get to the triggers option, all right? And we are going to add a second condition. So guys, right here, I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to add the new one that is going to be in the word option, okay? So select maths, numerical comparison, function library, words, distance from position to position, and we are going to select the event position and the location. Remember that we create a location to create effects under this, so we need to do the same right here. So it's going to be just in the same point, okay? And it's going to be, name it as a card English number 2, okay? For now, I don't going to change the name, but you already know that you need to select a personal name. Input a number for it. So as an example, select 2 blocks. That means if the event is 2 blocks away from it, it's going to work. All right, so now it's supposed to be working. Oh, all right, I found it. So the problem is that I set up here as an equal. And remember, it needs to be less because we want to check less distance. So let's check less or equal, or if you want to choose only less. Now it's working fine. And yep, as you see right here with this, we don't need to choose like different blocks for set up the store, okay? Now, we already know the 2 basic systems to create this, okay? So To create the trigger one, we only need to modify the previous one. So remember, if you already have created one specific, like this one that is going to show you something when the player is accessing, we are going to modify that one, okay? We're going to copy and paste it. We are going to change the name because as you see, guys, if you don't change the name, you're going to start a little bit confused, okay? So we are going to do ads for it. For this, it's just the same event. The condition is going to be the same, but instead of this actual action, we are going to select a new action, and the action is going to be the one that says developer and advertisement, okay? So how it works? Now you're going to select like showing something to the player. Remember it, after check the video, you are going to get a vehicle, a ship, okay? A ship. Remember that you can place wherever you want, and it's something important here. So it's not going to do anything more than show the player the advertising, and then it's going to execute a trigger. Okay, so when you are using ads, you have to have two triggers. The first one is going to be this one that starts and shows the player the trigger. Now we need to add a new one to add the reward, okay? So for the new one, we are going to add just a condition, not an event. And the condition is going to be here on play, on the left bar, you are going to select play and judge the ad, and it needs to be true. And if it's true, we are going to just give to the player the item, okay? So remember the item that we create, correct? That's the item that we need to give to the player. And for this, we are going to select player. There's going to be one specific that says add an item. You're going to choose which item in template library. Remember that we can choose just the one that we create. That's the one that is going to activate the system. For this, we didn't create like the full item yet, but remember that we set up that when the player receives this specific portal frame is going to get the item. Okay. Oh, no, actually, I remember that we already created. Okay. So sorry, I'm a little bit wrong with it. So I think it's going to be this one, English card. Yes, it's going to be this one. And to players in triggered event. So right now you are going to see not in red, you are going to see in orange. Orange means that as we don't have an event, it's going to depend from this one. And very important, you are going to rename it. You are going to change the name, and I highly recommend you to keep the same name of the first and the first trigger, but you are going to select like another specification for it, like this. Execute. So you are going to know that this is the condition and this is the execution. You are going to switch back to the first one, the one that we create, and this time where it says execute the trigger, you are going to select the trigger that we just create. So select triggers, select your trigger set, and select execute, okay? So I actually know how most of you already know how it works. So when you access here, it's going to tell you to just place the advertising, and it's going to show you something. As I'm on a computer, it's not going to show me anything. But as soon as you test it on a cell phone, you are going to be able to see that it's going to provide you the reward, okay? And remember, when we receive a frame, the skin is going to change. Let's use the frame. And as you see, we have the new screen. You are going to use as an event if any player obtains an item. The item is going to be the item that you create. In this case, we are going to choose it because we are not going to use the portal frame anymore. We are going to use the item that we create for the card. And execution to give just the buff that we create, okay? So let me show you that now it's going to change. We are going to, as we already changed the portal frame, we are going to use the right item, okay? That is going to be this one. Very important, check the description just in case. And let me show you. And right now, as you see, I get the item. So we left one part, and is when we get the item, we need to remove that item from the player. So well, for this, the only thing that you need to do is to add a new event. Then select player. You're going to select remove item. we are going to select in amount 1, and in item type, the item that we just create is just going to be the same for wall defense. And that's it. Let me show you how it looks now. Okay, so let's switch to play. As you see, once we select here, we select the item, we put it, the item disappears and the player gets the skin. Okay, very important things, guys. If you notice here, we've changed the camera changed from first player to just third player. And also, let me show you. As you see, for my other items, I get a special effect. I already showed you how to create the special effects, so remember that you only need to create another effect and sound for it, okay? Also, don't forget, apart from the effects, to notify the player that he already changed the skin. For this, just hit on player again at a new action with player. We are going to choose where it says give the player a text or show a player a text. Just give me a second, it needs to be around here. Okay, display text to the player. We are going to just type under skin changes. Okay, and also we are going to create a text for the chat, so the other players will know and will notice that the player purchased a skin, so probably they are going to try to purchase another and know how you can change the skin. Okay, for this we need to choose here another one that says send a chat. Okay, give me a second. Designate item, replacement status, restores player appearance. Okay, display chat info. Again, we can choose whatever you want. As an example, player gets an item or a skin, okay? And yeah, what it's going to do right now, it's going to show the player the small screen, and also it's going to just let the player know that the other players know that he get the skin. So let me show you right here. If I switch again to play mode, if I get the item, remember that what we did with the story is just to give the player the item. If we get the item, it's going to show me a small screen on the front and also tells in the chat that actually I get the skin, okay? So with this, we already finished and we know how to do the process to create our own store, okay? And how to create also skin system for it. It's just how I just create the random items that you can use for it. So just create a random item. Under, you are going to select in Looky Back, you are going to select random drop. You are going to choose the number of drops to 1. Don't hit allow repeat, don't hit open condition, and under you need to add all the items. So when the player gets the random item, it's going to just, he needs to activate the function and it's going to provide any item, okay? Okay guys, so